Okay, IFRS 16. The old standard is IS 17. Okay, so you have to know a little bit on the background first on IS 17, and mention here last time IS 17. IS 17 is about leasing. Leasing is about renting, lah. Okay, lease is rent. Okay, leasing. So last time when we enter in the contract, we have the two party here. One is the lessor, one is the lessee. Okay, now one's the lessor, one's the lessee. Lessor lessee means they have an asset and they lease it to the lessee. Okay, rent the asset to the lessee. So the one that is renting out is the lessor lessee. Okay. Now our focus is more on the lessee part. Okay, the contract entered. Most party. Okay. Okay, there are two types first. They have the old one. We have operating lease and finance lease. Operating lease and finance lease. So with the new standard, there's no more operating or finance lease. Everything is treated as finance lease. Okay, but we don't call it finance lease, but the treatment is similar to finance lease. Okay, because many people miss because of the judgment involved, whereby the judgment involved here to determine whether is it an operating or is it a finance. So they use this loophole to actually classify them as operating. Okay, what's the significance of classifying them in operating rather than financing? So if you look at this concept here, we apply substance over form. Okay, not substance over form. So X is considering purchase an asset, 50,000 either by a bank loan or by a lease arrangement, a rental arrangement. I borrow to buy or actually rent and pay rental. So if I would, so A is to borrow to buy, B is to lease from the bank leasing division at annual rental of 12. One is borrow to pay, one is to rent, pay 12,000. So if I borrow 50,000 and I repay over 5 installments, it will be 12,000 for 5 years. Means I'm going to pay 60,000. But I borrow how much? 50. I'll pay back 60. Meaning the bank earn 10 interest. Is it okay? So when I borrow means I'm going to borrow and buy asset. At first, I'm going to recognize the asset as 50,000, and I have a loan 50. What must I do with this? I must depreciate. What must I do with this? I must pay back 12,000. So the first thing, first year, I'm going to pay 12, of which 10 is to repay off the loan, 2 will be charged as interest. Okay. Then my asset, I will depreciate. So I have expenses of 10 and I have expenses of 12. 2, so 12. Okay, now asset no issue one. Asset I'm going to depreciate 50 minus 10, so my net book is 40. Okay, so in this example here, I have a liability of 50. So is it going to affect my gearing ratio? Yeah, it's going to affect my gearing ratio. Okay, now because gearing ratio is to calculate the level of the company's debt divided by debt plus equity. So if I have a debt here, my debt will go up, my gearing will go up. Means my ability to borrow in the future will be lesser. Financial risk is higher. Not only that, can you see I pay an interest, it's going to affect my expenses? Of course, these two are my expenses, 2 and 10, 12,000. Okay. If I were to rent it from the bank, means you don't lend me money, I actually rent it from you. So let's enter into an agreement. I pay you 12,000 every month, every year. So is that my asset? No, I'm renting from you. So in the absence of the application of this standard, the 12,000 will be recognized as annual rental. Is it an expenses? Yeah, it is an expenses of 12,000. Okay, not 12,000. No asset is recognized because I'm renting. No debt is recognized because I did not borrow. Okay, not? So No finance cost is incurred, no depreciation is charged. But of course, I have a rental. So in terms of expenses, same. Here I have 2 and 10. Here I have a 12. In terms of expenses, same. Overall profit will be similar. But what's the main difference here? Here I do not have asset, do not have liability. Up here I have an asset, I have a liability. But asset is one thing. Most importantly is here do have a liability of 50. Here do not have a liability. Means which arrangement will actually help to improve your gearing or improve your performance, your ratio? Leasing B. Okay, now expenses same, but most importantly I do not recognize liability. So we call this off balance sheet financing. Means the financing actually this by applying substance of form, this is actually a loan taken from the bank to actually purchase the asset. Okay, now so by applying substance of form, we should recognize the asset, we should recognize the debt. If you enter into this arrangement, we should recognize similar to this because of the same characteristic as this. Asset we're going to use over 5 years. Correct? Not? 5 installments over 5 years. The bank don't want the car. I rent it from them. The car is with me over the 5 years. So it's actually I have control over the car. Okay, now essentially means the definition of asset is resources control. So I have control over the car. The bank do not want the car actually. But actually owned by who? The bank actually is the legal owner of the car. Okay, but I have control over the full year of the useful life of the car. So by applying substance form, by right, I should be recognizing the asset in my book, and at the same time, liability, because essentially it's actually a loan taken from the bank to buy this car. Okay, but the name is not transferred yet, it's still under the company's name or the bank's name. So when IFRS 16 7 or the 01 is applied, I therefore have to apply substance of form, means I'm going to recognize the asset at the same time the liability. So I cannot hide from this liability here. So I cannot avoid showing the debt, which is going to affect my gearing ratio, ROCE, and asset turnover. Is it okay? So if you look at this diagram, the old standard IAS 17, we have two types of lease. Now IFRS 16, no more two types. Everything will be, we only have one type of lease. And that lease must be treated as though it is as a finance lease. We don't call it finance lease. Just like IFRS 16, we have to treat it similar to finance lease. That's why many people say, hey, now no more finance lease or operating lease. Everything is finance lease. It's not wrong. Everything is finance lease, meaning everything is finance lease. But the standard did not say it is a finance lease. They didn't give a term, yeah, we should recognize as finance lease, but the treatment is similar to finance lease. Meaning, we should recognize asset, we should recognize the liability. You see here? If it was a operating lease, meaning the second example, rental, it will appear here as operating cost. Can you see? Rental. Means revenue less cost, earning before interest and tax and depreciation and amortization. Depreciation will minus from here. Because when we recognize asset, we have depreciation. We recognize liability, we have interest. So can you transfer this up? Actually, the interest should be here, not here. Or you can just cancel this one and put that interest. Same thing, this one should be the interest. Then this is a PBT. Then in our SAP, if it's operating lease, means the second example, we do not have asset, we do not show liability. We call this off balance sheet financing, means does not show asset, does not show liability. So gearing ratio will improve. Operating lease. Finance lease means I'm going to recognize the asset, recognize the liability. With the new standard, which is going to follow finance lease, we're going to recognize all the assets and all the liability. Okay. Last time we have to follow the condition. If we meet certain condition, it will be finance lease. If they do not meet, then it will operating lease. But now no more. Clear? So if you turn back to page 1, the front page here, we have to apply substance over form. So substance over form, it should be faithfully represented. Faithful representation got how many? Faithful representation got complete, neutral, free from error, and substance over form. Conceptual framework. Complete, neutral, free from error, and also substance over form. So we have to apply substance over form in this case. All right. Can before okay. The standard, again, repeat, they do not say everything must be finance lease, but the treatment is all finance lease lah. Similar. Recognized asset, recognized liability. However, we have exemption. Okay, we have exemption. So what are the exemption? A and B. If the agreement I enter into, we have a lessor and lessee. We are the lessee. If I rent it from them and the contract says the rental is for less than, the lease is for less than 12 months. If it's less than 12 months, then we will recognize it as a rental. Means if you use back the old standard, it will be treated as operating lease. Rental. Oh, less than 12 months. More than 12 months, recognize asset, recognize liability. Less than 12 months, we have exemption. Not only that, if the asset is of low value, if it's of low value, we also treat it as though it's a rental. No point recognize asset, recognize liability, and the value is about 500 or 300. And then you have asset, you have liability. So it's going to be very troublesome. So treat it as though it's a rental, operating lease. Clear? So two conditions. Short-term lease, low value. Short-term, less than 12 months, low value. So we have example 1 here. XYZ enter into an agreement on this date to lease a machine for 8 months. A machine for 8 months. So it's short-term. So if it's short-term, we can treat it as a rental. Rental. The monthly lease term payment is 400 per month and is payable quarterly. Quarterly in advance, beginning from 1st of November. Means I pay how much? 400. The monthly lease rental payment is 400 payable quarterly. Monthly is 400. So 1,002 is for 3 months. So I'll pay 3 months one shot, correct or not? So if I pay 3 months one shot in November, wait. When is my year end? December. Here, December. So I start in November, which is here. So I will pay 1,002, correct? For how many months? 1, 2, and 3. I pay November, December, and January. So continue. The machine has fair value of 30,000. The market value of this machine when I rent is 30,000. At the inception means at the beginning of the lease. At the inception means at the recognition date, inception of the lease with 0 residual value after 5 years. I can use it for 5 years with 0 means if I recognize asset, I'm going to recognize depreciation 6,000 a year. But here is only 2 months, correct? So I'm going to depreciate 2 months if I recognize asset and liability. But now, since it's less than 12 months, I'm going to recognize this as expenses, just like a rental. So how should the lease be accounted for in the financial statement? So how much is my expenses? My expenses is 800, 400. So I have prepaid 400. Okay, so recognize expenses, recognize asset. Is it okay? So no need to recognize asset, no need to recognize liability. Straightforward. Okay. Example, rent-free incentive. ABC entered into a 10-month lease. Again, is less than 12 months on the July, but was not required to make payment in the first month because they give you incentive. No need to pay for the first month. You sign contract 10 months, first month free. ABC is required to make monthly payment of 1,000 beginning in second month. So I just have to pay 1,000 for 9 months, correct? So I have to pay 9,000. And this is for how much? How long? 10 months. I have to pay 9,000 for 10 months. So how should the lease be accounted for the year ended 31st December? So I started in July. So what I do is we have to average it out. So if it's 9,000 is for the contract for 10 months, then every month will be 900. Is it okay? So I rent for half a year. My expenses therefore will be 900 times 6. Correct or not? Agree? Yeah. Beginning from the second one means August lah, I think. Wait, let me settle this one first. 4-5. Yeah, sorry, question. We pay into, sorry? Pay 5,000. Yeah, remember accruals concept? Accruals concept is what we incurred, not how much we pay, right? So means on average here, my rental is actually 900 per month. On average. Okay, 9 times 10 months, 9,000 lah. That's how much I pay. So 900 times 6 months, July, August, September, October, November, December, 6 months. So this is the amount I should recognize as expense. Okay, but how much is my accrual prepayment? Here, example, this is my lease, my rental. Lease rental. First month, if I were to recognize it on a monthly basis, have I paid anything? No. So how much I owe my tenant or my lessor? So in the first month, I paid nothing. In July, I'm going to owe 900, correct? Not? So credit accrual, debit lease rental, 9. So the amount charged to SPL is 900 expenses, month of July, even though I paid nothing. Second month, I'm going to, second month, would I pay 1,000? Start paying 1,000? Yes, I will pay 1,000. In the second month, my expenses, I will charge another 900. So 1,008 minus 1,000. Now, yeah, my balance I owe 800 in my book. Because I charged 9,900, I pay 1,000. Extra is to pay for this one. So balance become 8. Third year, I'll pay another 1,000. And I'll charge to SPL 900. So carry down, brought down 700. So by the month of December, or by the 10th month, everything becomes 0. So every month I'll charge 900, 900, 900 for 6 months. Is it okay? Okay. So SPL, lease rental. Sorry, this one should be 5,004, not 4,500. 5,004. 9 times 6 is 54. Lease rental 5,004. SFP, I have a liability. Accrual. How much will I owe accrual? July 900. August 400. September, October, November, December 4. It's a current liability. End of July, August, September, October, November, end of December. So lease payment, rental, short term or low value, this is how we recognize. Tapi, Fatima, okay. Still counting it. Okay. You know, I teach in this college. This one with forces. And to highlight it is not difficult if you have time. Okay. All right. Now, next one will be if it's lease. Okay. Short, low value or short term operating lease. We call it operating lease, means rental. So identify the lease under IFRS 16. So the keyword here, what happened? Hmm? Record, yeah. That's all. Hmm? What's the problem today? Yeah. Okay. Okay. identifying lease under the IFRS. So we have a definition first. Definition for leasing here, a contract. Okay, a contract is a lease. So the contract in itself on the surface we know is a lease. Okay, or if you go through the contract, it may contain a lease. So that's why over here a contract is or contain a lease. Okay, if the contract convey the right to control the use of an identified asset, the right to control the use. So control and of an identified asset. So in the contract there must be an identified asset. Okay, for a period of time in exchange for money consideration. Okay, so this is the definition. A contract is a lease or contain a lease if they convey the right to control the asset, use of the identified asset for a period of time in exchange for money. Okay, it is a lease or it contains a lease when you have this one, right, and identified asset. So you look at this diagram here, we have the lessor and we have the lessee. So you transfer the right to control the asset to the lessee, and there is an identified asset here, meaning the tractor here. There's an identified asset and it has been transferred for a consideration for a period of time. So meaning this contract here contains a lease. Okay, it is a lease or it contains a lease. So the keyword here has the right to, the IFRS state that the customer, means the lessee, has got the right to direct the use of the identified asset. Right to direct the use means you can keep it, you can use it for whatever purpose. Right to direct the use of the asset. Okay, how is it going to be used and what purpose is it going to be used? And you look at the second bullet point, without the supplier having the right to change this operating instruction, means they do not have the right to ask me to do what I want with the asset. Okay, so meaning I now have the right. Let's summarize it. Means the control is transferred to me means I have a right to direct how is it going to be used and for what purpose is it going to be used, and the one that supply me with the asset can't ask me to change, okay, the purpose. Got it? So we have one example here, the right to direct the use of the asset. This contract do not contain a lease. This contract do not contain a lease. So let's go through. Customer enter in a contract with the road haulier. Okay, look, road haulier is a transporter for the transportation of goods from London to Edinburgh on a specified truck. So in the contract, they mention from where to where in a specific truck. It's already mentioned from destination A to B, and the truck is explicitly specified in the contract. So identified asset, there is an identified asset, and the H, this is a haulier, this is a transporter, does not have substitution right. Okay, the goods will occupy substantially all the capacity of the truck from London to Edinburgh using specified truck, and the contract specify the goods to be transported. What kind of goods is to be transported in the contract? H operate and maintain the truck. H operate as well as they maintain. So now when we look at the control, okay, has the correct to use the asset has been transferred from the haulier to the customer. H operate and maintain the truck. Who has got the right to use the truck? Is it remain with this company, the transporter, and is responsible for the safe delivery of the goods. C is not allowed, is prohibited from hiring another haulier to transport the goods or operating truck itself. So basically, of course, it's explained here. We're not going through. Basically, what is explained at the bottom here is I'm the customer. These are the transporter. We sign the contract. I actually assign him. Okay, now I means I rent from him to transfer from one to the other. everything is specified in the contract from London to Edinburgh and to transport what kind of goods. Can I change it? Cannot. Can I use it for myself or other purpose? Cannot, because it's already specified. And then who maintain? H maintain, H will operate. Means I have no right to use for what purpose, whatever purpose, or whatever reason. So therefore, this contract do not contain a lease. Okay, so this question here is focused on the right to use the asset. Means the customer do not have the right, even though in the contract say, yeah, we're going to assign you to help me to transport. Basically, I'm just renting only, I pay you only to help me to transport. Is it okay? Next. In the contract, there must be identified asset. So we go straight to the example. Under a contract between local authority, L, and private sector provider, P, the provider, provide L with 20 trucks to be used for collection, refuse collection on the behalf of L for 6 years period. We sign a contract, 6 years period. The truck which are owned by P, the provider, are specified in the contract. Means the asset is identified. Which asset are we looking at? The truck. L, the local authority, determine how they are used in the refuse collection. They determine how they are going to be used. When the truck are not in use, they are kept in L's premises. So when we look at the right, who has got the right now? L. So when we focus on the right is with the L. L can use the truck for another purpose if it chooses. So the truck need to be serviced or repaired. P is required to substitute a truck of the same type. Otherwise, other than that, on default L, P cannot take back the truck during the 6 years. So the asset has been identified and the control, the rights to use the asset, is it remain with L? Yes. However, did the P take back the asset for repair? There you see here. If a particular truck need to be serviced or repaired, P is required to substitute a new truck for them. So I do take back for repair and maintain. This one here do not consider as right has been retained with me. Because it's part of the contract, I have to help you to repair and substitute a new one for you, another one for you. So this contract contain a lease. Got it? So number 1 do not contain, number 2 do contain. Clear? So that is how we identify whether it is a lease or it is not a lease. Contain a lease or do not contain a lease. So question, let's say recognition. It contain a lease, what must we do? We are the lessee. We must recognize asset. We must recognize liability. Is it okay? So measurement means how much should I recognize as my asset? How much should I recognize as my liability? It can be different amount. Here, the amount, the first thing is always the PV/MLP, present value of minimum lease payment. Present value of minimum lease payment. If no other information, asset and liability same. Repeat. If no other information, we only have the present value of minimum lease payment. We're going to recognize asset same amount as the liability. If it's 1,000 asset, 1,000 liability. No other information, just the PV/MLP, present value of minimum lease payment. What is present value of minimum lease payment? Every year I will pay, let's say this is 4 years lease. Assuming this is a 4 years lease, I'm going to pay lease every year 1,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. So the lease payment is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So what must we do? What's the value today? If the interest rate is 10%, means this 10,000 I'm going to discount 1 year. Discount 2 year, discount 3 year, discount 4 year. So this is the present value of the lease payment. This is my lease payment, lease payment, lease payment, lease payment. If I discount using this 10% rate, discount 1 year, discount 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, over here I will have 30 plus thousand, 30 plus thousand. This is my present value of my lease payment. Got it? So basically it's the present value. So after I discount, if it's about 30 plus thousand, I'm going to recognize asset 30, liability 30, if no other info. But what happens if got other info? Means I got bullet point number 1, bullet point number 2, bullet point number 3. So how much should I recognize as my asset? It will be present value of minimum lease payment plus any payment made to the lessor. Any additional payment made to the lessor plus initial cost plus minus any incentive and plus number 3, dismantling cost. I put here number 3. Have we learned dismantling cost in IS 16, IS 37? In the future, I need to pay, I have to discount, then I have to amortize. Or we have to unwind. Yeah. So not just present value, you got other information, additional payment, minus plus initial cost, minus any incentive, less any incentive received. This will be my asset. My liability is always my present value of minimum lease payment. Meaning, Germany. Gem. Update page. Wait. When this thing appears, means got problem.